Welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Patrick Christiano, your host, the publisher of TheaterLife.com, a website for theater buffs. And we have a really special guest today, the artistic director of Bay Street Theater, Scott Schwartz. Scott, thank you so much for coming. It's my pleasure to have you.
It's my pleasure, Patrick. Thank you for having me.
You have just opened a new show at Bay Street Theater, the world premiere of a new musical, Double Helix. And it is fantastic. You blew me away.
Thank you so much.
It is an impressive accomplishment. Everything about it is stunning. It's beautifully cast. The music is outstanding. It's a compelling story. And you tell us about it. Tell us how you came to do this.
Sure. Well, this one's a real.
Let me interrupt Bill quickly. I want to tell them it's playing the main stage right now, and it's going to end this weekend. So
only through June 18th. Yes, it cannot run longer than June 18th. I wish we could, but we have another show coming in, so you only can see it through June 18th at Bay Street.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about this, and it's only through June 18th. Go to Bay Street. Theater.org, is that it?
Just baystreet.org. Just baystreet.org.
Baystreet.org. Tickets are only through this weekend, and it can't be extended. So hopefully this might help a little bit. We're going to talk about it, and then we'll hit on the rest of the season too. So tell us how this came to be. And
Sure. Well, this is a musical, Double Helix, that has been a real labor of love for me. I've been involved with it as director since it was just an idea. So I've been working on this show with the writer Madeline Myers for 5 years. And the story very quickly is about Rosalind Franklin, an important scientist from the mid-20th century who was a part of the race to discover the structure of DNA. And she ultimately took a photograph, which is now known as Photograph 51, which was a big part of how it was figured out what the structure of DNA was, but she was never credited for that discovery. And ultimately, James Watson and Francis Crick and another gentleman named Morris Wilkins went on to win the Nobel Prize for that discovery. And they actually used her work, but did not credit her for that. So that is the center of the story. I don't mean to give too much away.
No, but so it's really about the challenges that a woman at this time, because it's set in the 50s, right?
It's set in the early 1950s in England.
So it's a woman and a Jew, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, a lot of the show concerns her Jewish heritage and her relationship to her Jewish background,
and the struggles that she has as a passionate woman to succeed in a world at that time.
Exactly, and the thing of it is, saying that the show is about the discovery of DNA, that is, of course, what the show is about, but that can sound a little bit dry. And actually, the show is very passionate. There's a big romance at the center of it. And it's about this sort of exciting, cutthroat race that these people were in. So one of the things I've always loved about the show is that it's really kind of a page turner. You want to know what happened next, and you want to find out how this all happened. So but going back to the beginning, I was involved with this show really since its inception. The writer and I met through a mutual colleague, a book writer that we were both working with on different shows. And we got to know each other a little bit and started talking about ideas to work on together. And Madeline said, well, I have this idea. Have you ever heard of Rosalind Franklin? And to be honest, at that time, 5 years ago, I hadn't. And she told me the story and I said, that's it. That's our show. And I want to say, lo and behold, here we are. But, it has been 5 years of developmental steps, including being a part of Bay Street's New Works Festival. Bay Street has really been a central part of the development of this new musical.
I applaud you. It's just, and it's a world premiere. It's magnificent. What I also loved about it, which you just hit on just a minute ago, that it's not a dry story about the discovery of DNA, even though that is the apparatus that the story is told around. It really is, about anybody that has a passion to do something and drive for success and be successful at what they do with the detective work that it takes to be successful in your field. It's about having a passion and rising, but it's a woman's struggle in particular, and particularly a Jew at a particular time as well. So, I mean, I think anybody that's successful gets confronted sometimes. Yes?
I think that's exactly right. I mean, the show, we hope, will speak to people from all walks of life who have different interests and different passions. But I think we all have something that we want and that we desire to do, whether it's professional or otherwise. It doesn't have to be a professional pursuit. And I think this story really gets into what is it to want something and go for something with all your guts, and what sacrifices do you have to make along the way. And as you say, and by God, it's still true today as it was in the 1950s, what is it for a woman in a field that's primarily dominated by men? And what is it for a Jewish person in a world that has all of this subtle but present anti-Semitism in it? I think, again, sadly, those things are still present, though hopefully we've made some progress since the 1950s.
Wow. Yeah. Now let's talk about the actress that's playing the role of Rosalind, Samantha Maisel. And she was on Broadway in Fiddler on the Roof, the 2015 production. She was Hodel.
Yes,
she's a wonderful presence. Your whole cast is so beautifully cast. Scott,
thank you. We're so lucky to have all of them. I mean, it's a marvelous cast. A few of them have done some of the readings up to this point, but many of them are new to the show. And I will say, Samantha has also been a part of it from the very, very beginning. Actually, the writer, Madeline Myers, wrote the role for Samantha. And so she's been involved with every developmental step, and she's just marvelous. I mean, as you said...
Oh, she's perfect.
She is. I mean, she's just perfect. She has an extraordinary singing voice. I mean, I think she has one of the best legit singing voices in the Broadway community. And she has a lot of songs and a lot of...
I agree. Oh, let's before we get further, let's show them the sizzle reel, and then we'll talk some more about it. Yes, I'm going to interrupt. So we do. We have this wonderful sizzle reel that gives you a taste of what the musical is like and some of the transitions and little snippets. It's really fabulous. Let's roll it in, Jody. Okay.
We're one step closer to finding the structure, closer to winning the race, closer to finding what is life, what is life.
I could spend every day walking the river with you.
Jim, when will you get that blasted triple helix out of your head? You must be dense. Sins, not a shred of evidence permits Pauling or anyone else for that matter to postulate a triple helix structure. It doesn't add up and it doesn't make sense. The molecule's completely inside out.
What do you mean?
Well, first of all, the phosphate groups are incorrectly spaced, indirectly placed along the axis.
We've all been toiling away for weeks and weeks, and here comes Morris.
Not so fast, Morris. Is this the photograph?
Yes. You can't stand not being the best scientist here, so you've got to tear down someone else.
Photograph 51!
Wow. When I see it, all those little snippets just remind me of how wonderful it was again. It's like bringing you right back. It's just beautiful. It really is.
Thank you. Again, we're really proud of it. And, the audience response, I have to say, it's just been been phenomenal. The critical response has been phenomenal. It really seems to have struck a chord with people, and we're so proud of it. It's passionate, it's exciting, it has this amazing music, it has great performances, and it's brand new. I mean, you can't see it anywhere else but Bay Street Theater, and that's what I think. Frankly, that's what I think Bay Street is about. It's about bringing the best work, the most cutting edge work to our audience. So I hope a lot more people turn out this week to see it, because we've only got 1 week left. I wish we could run longer. The show's doing very well. People are buying tickets, but we just can't run any longer because we have other stuff coming.
Well, we won't talk too much longer about it, but I also just want to comment also too. I loved the lighting and the sets and what you people did on that, and how, because it jumped back and forth in time, and the transitions that you made back and forth. It was just, it was gorgeous.
I mean, it's an extraordinary team I got to work with on the show as director. Our set designer is Alexander Dodge. He's had many shows on Broadway, including what I think was one of the best Broadway sets of the last 10 years, which was for Gentleman's Guide, A Gentleman's Guide to Murder he designed, which was marvelous. He also actually designed the set for Bay Street's production of Hedda Gabler. This is before my time, but that went on to Broadway starring Kate Burton. And our lighting designer is Mike Billings, who is a regular at Bay Street. He's done a lot of work for us, but he also did The Prince of Egypt on the West End for me. He's an amazing lighting designer.
Yeah. Where does it all, I don't know, I want to talk more about it, but we don't have time, and we're going to talk about the rest of the season. I'd love to talk more about the process and where it begins and how you get to different things and when you bring this in, because every time I see the thing, oh my God, I just wonder where you come with all the ingenuity to what you think of first and how they.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's truly, we probably do need to have a longer segment to talk just about that. But, and each idea comes organically and everyone contributes, the designers, the actors, the writer, myself, it's a real team effort.
Well, it really does begin with this team that you have, the lighting people and design people and the writer and who wrote the music?
Her name is Madeline Myers. She wrote the wonderful. She wrote everything. I mean, that's the other thing that's so cool about her.
Wow.
Like one woman, a relatively young woman, has written the whole thing, book, music, and lyrics. She's like one of those rare writers who does it all, like Lin-Manuel Miranda or like Meredith Willson, going back a little further. She did it all, and she did it all really wonderfully.
I just want to say one more time, and the other thing that is so wonderful about it, besides this lady that is doing the lead role and it just suits it so beautifully, the entire cast, not that they're all wonderful, they're all so well cast. They all capture the essence of each one of those people is like. It's just you feel this energy of it all, and it's just and that's such an important ingredient when you start there, to have those people represent who they're supposed to be. It makes it gel so beautifully after the design team you have.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, I will say that I, again, feel so lucky to have this extraordinary cast. And there is an interesting thing in this show that's kind of different, I think, than almost anything else I have ever worked on, at least any musical I've ever worked on, which is that they're all real people. I mean, every single character in the show is based on a real person who was alive, or in one or two cases who are still alive. And so I think we did have a special responsibility on the show to be true to those people and to honor them and tell their stories, not in a saccharine way, not in a way that covers anything up, but just tell their stories honestly. And I hope we've done that.
You've done a beautiful job. It moved me emotionally. I got angry. I got upset. I felt things. And that's what the theater is supposed to do. And besides being this wonderful piece that I learned something through too. So we have about 12 minutes left. So we're moving along.
Yeah.
So, and the next show you have coming up after that is Dial M for Murder.
Dial M for Murder, the classic thriller. We're so excited about this.
which is originally based on a Hitchcock film, and you have two really an interesting star, Mamie Gummer.
We have Mamie Gummer, who's known from.
Can we show that picture? Can we just show Mamie Gummer, because she's a beautiful young lady, and that's her co-star. What's his name?
Eric Bergen. Yes, He's also pretty well known from TV. They're fantastic. The whole cast on that one also is fantastic, and it's also directed by Tony Award winner Walter Bobby.
Oh, bravo!
It's really going to be exciting.
The people who aren't familiar with it, it's a mystery. It's a murder mystery about a husband that's plotting to kill his wife, and we won't tell too much about it, but it gets very exciting.
Oh yes, there are lots of twists and turns. I mean, it is based on it is a play by a gentleman named Frederick Knott from, I think, around the 1950s, in fact, and then Hitchcock made his very famous film of it. But this is a new adaptation by a wonderful writer named Jeffrey Hatcher. And he's taken Frederick Knott's play and, kind of made it a little more contemporary feeling. It's still set in period. It's still very glamorous and delicious. And in its world, also ironically in the 1950s in England, different part of England and a different kind of people than Double Helix. But it's a really good new adaptation, and I just think it's going to be a good time. It's a little dangerous, it's a little sexy, it's a little scary, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
So it's a little bit of escapism in a way, so we can just forget everything that's going on in the world and get into a little murder mystery and worry about something else.
I think at this point in the world, a little escapism is not a bad thing.
Exactly. That's what I meant.
And there's also humor in it. One of the things that Jeffrey Hatcher has done in his new adaptation is he's found some wonderful moments of humor. They're all truthful and based in the characters, but it's funny too.
Oh, cool. Cool. Because I don't remember much humor in the movie, and I've never read the play, so I don't know. But I don't.
This one has some nice humor layered in, and there is a particular twist which I don't want to give away, but you find out right at the beginning. But he's switched one thing in the story a little bit, which makes the show feel, I think, a lot more contemporary, which we're excited about.
And again, the dates are June 27th to July 23rd at the Bay Street main stage. You go to baystreet.org to get your tickets.
Tickets are on sale now. You can get tickets for any performance at this point.
And then after Dial M for Murder, we have the Tales of the Gutenberg Bible.
That is correct. Tales from the Gutenberg Bible. We're so excited about this one.
Now, I know nothing. Enlighten me. I don't know who this man is. I Googled him. I have not seen any of his work. I mean, he's got so much work. I was stunned that it wasn't one of those things that I crossed paths with, believe it or not.
Well, I will tell you, Steve Gutenberg, when I first reached out about doing this play at Bay Street, and they said Steve Gutenberg is interested, I was so excited because I am a huge Steve Gutenberg fan. I mean, he was the star of the Police Academy movies. He was the star of one of the stars of Diner. He was one of the stars of Cocoon. He was one of the stars of Three Men and a Baby. I mean, I was a teenager in the 1980s, and he was like the god of film in the 1980s. And so we're so excited to have him. He is incredibly charming on stage and delightful on stage. And frankly, he's quite charming and delightful in person. The show
is this kind of like a philosophy on life? Is that what that is, or is it a storytelling? What is?
It's really a story. It's really the story of his life and career. He was born on Long Island. He has
a wealth of stuff to draw from. I mean, when I Googled him, I was stunned about all the stuff he had done. I mean,
and all the stars he's worked with and knew and interacted with. I mean, he was born on Long Island in Massapequa, and he wanted to break into Hollywood and get to Hollywood. And this is the story of how he got to Hollywood, how he became literally one of the biggest stars in the world in the 1980s. I mean, I think he and Gene Hackman are tied, or he may even be slightly ahead in how many films he starred in the 1980s. He just became this massive star, and the play is about that, and it's about Hollywood. It's a little bit of an expose of Hollywood. It's quite funny. I mean, it's all told, with a light and playful touch, and it is more actors than just Steve. Steve is the star of it, and he is going to be on stage at Bay Street Theater starting at the end of July. But there are 3 other brilliant comedic actors who are also a part of the show, who play all the people he encounters and all the people in his life.
So does he actually talk to the audience too, or does he just interact with the people? How does it?
No, he interacts with the audience. There's definitely moments where he's talking to us, and then he has scenes with these other actors. This play is a co-production with a wonderful theater in New Jersey called the George Street Playhouse. It started there.
Wonderful, yes.
It started there in May. The play was directed and developed by their artistic director David Saint, who we're very excited is going to be working with us. And then it's coming straight from George Street to Bay Street. So we are a part of the world premiere. So this is, again, another show that nobody else has seen yet, other than the audience at George Street Playhouse. It's a really exciting new show. And I think there's going to be a future for it as well beyond Bay Street. There seems to be a lot of interest beyond our production.
Well, you guys sent me a bunch of pictures. I picked out this one crazy picture that the marketing director also.
That's one of the crazier moments in the show.
Jody, can we show this?
There it is. Yeah. Yes, there it is. That does happen. It does happen. The whole show is not quite like that, but the whole show is really funny and really wild.
Well, I look forward to seeing that too. Again, what are the dates? It's August 1st to August 20th. Is that correct?
That sounds right.
August 1st to August. Yeah, I got it here. It's August 1st to August 20th.
And actually, single tickets are only now going on sale. So it's a good time to get tickets for that if you want to, because it's only really been available to our patrons and subscribers. But now, if you call the box office or go on the website, you can get single tickets for that.
And then we only have about 5 minutes left. So before we get to the last show, just want to remind everyone that your summer gala is coming up too. Is it June 18th? Is that the date?
July 8th. It's July 8th. And we're super excited because we're honoring 3 people who are, again, just like idols of mine and of so many people's. We're honoring Matthew Broderick and Sarah Jessica Parker and Julie Andrews. And
oh my God.
We're so thrilled to be able to honor these important people. Also, one of our board members, Carol Connor, who's a very supportive of Bay Street and a very important person out here on the East End. So we're honoring a lot of wonderful people. There's going to be a great show with a lot of different wonderful performers, and we're doing it at the theater, which is different than we've ever done before. It's in the building of our theater, but we're sort of opening all the doors so you get a kind of full experience of backstage and you really see the inner workings of the theater and have this glamorous party and great show with these fabulous stars. It's going to be a fantastic night.
I look for July 8th. Is that right?
July
8th. Bay Street. .org, you can get your tickets to the summer gala as well. So now, and then your final show is Sammy and Me. It's a one-man show about Sammy Davis Jr. And who's the actor?
That is correct. His name is Eric Jordan Young. He was also one of the writers of the show. He is both he and his co-writer and director Wendy Dan are wonderful talents. And what's really interesting about this show, it only runs for 1 week. We've started to do this.
August 14th to the 20th. August 14th to the 20th. 1 week. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, and it's about this man, Eric Young's kind of fantasy relationship with Sammy Davis Jr. And specifically when Eric was a young Black man starting out in the entertainment industry, he really looked up to Sammy Davis Jr. But there are complexities about Sammy Davis Jr.'s role in the Black community, and so it explores that. But it's ultimately kind of a love letter to Sammy Davis Jr. and there is singing in it. Eric is a singer and will be singing some of Sammy Davis Jr.'s songs. But it's a fascinating story, and we're really proud to be able to bring that to our audience. And it only runs 1 week. That's a special additional show. It runs in rep with the Gutenberg show. So that means that week there'll be performances both of Tales from the Gutenberg Bible and from Sammy and me kind of simultaneously. We go back and forth between matinees and evening shows.
Oh, I love that. I love doing things in rep like that. I think it's really cool. Now, how did that piece come to you?
You know, that actually came through my literary manager, Hope Villanueva. She's a wonderful partner, and she oversees our new works development at Bay Street now, but also suggests plays and musicals for us. And she knew this writer, and she knew of this piece, and she recommended it to me, and I just fell in love with it.
How cool. You get so many opportunities to see so many different things. You're really lucky. Now,
I feel lucky. I do feel really lucky.
You're blessed. It's cool. It's wonderful. And I'm blessed to get to talk to you too. So yeah, how many years you've really revolutionized Bay Street Theater in a fabulous way. It's always been a wonderful part of our community, and the place that I go to, I always think of theater as my church a little bit. So
thank you. Well, it's been 10 years. This is my 10-year anniversary at Bay Street. So it's been a great ride so far, and I'm looking forward to more.
Well, thank you for coming to do it. And I love this production. Is there any chance that it might go someplace further?
You never know, but we're hopeful. I mean, the reception for Double Helix has been so positive. We're hopeful that Bay Street will serve as a launching pad to some future life for it. But only time will tell, as they say. Okay.
So we've got a whole season ahead of us. So we have the gala on July 8th. So go to baystreet.org, get your tickets, and get over there and see Double Helix if you can. Scott, thank you so much for coming to do this. It's been a joy.
Thank you, Patrick. Lovely to talk to you as always.
Yeah.